Good morning and welcome back to our Leadership Empowerment session. And I welcome you at a new day, new season. And we are getting to the end of our winter season here in South Africa. And to all our friends from right across the globe, I hope you enjoy the time with us. A few weeks ago, I've started part one of this series on especially for churches and for pastors and reverends and whatever title you might have. And that is to choose your emerging leaders within the church. And this was my biggest surprise when I came out of the corporate world into becoming a pastor, is that so little is done to develop leaders and potential leaders and emerging leaders within the church world. And that caused me to do more research on leadership development and how to develop identify and develop our emerging leaders. I've done 2 doctorates specifically for leadership development, corporately and within the church. So last time we talked about the core leadership essentials or characteristics that an emerging leader must have to become a leader in the church. And I talked about character as the foundation of all leadership requirements. So we start off with character. If you haven't watched that video yet, go and watch it on my YouTube channel. You'll find all my leadership training sessions there, and especially the last one. So the second aspect I want to touch on today is servant leadership. Mark 10 verse 43 and 45 says, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man," in capital letters, "did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So if Jesus was good enough to serve, what makes us then so special that we don't want to serve? So servant leaders seek to build, to encourage, and to empower those around him, and not to be served, and not to be honored. So leadership is a privilege. It's the influence we gain through our service. This is so different from our normal way of thinking, is that we think in the secular world, once I step into a title, a position, then people shall serve me, and then I shall have influence. Yes, you will have the authority, but not necessarily the influence. And there's a huge difference between authority and leadership. So what are the characteristics of a servant leader? They encourage others. They put people before themselves. They lead by example, and they build and empower teams. So they are into teamwork. An excellent example is Jesus himself. He washed the feet of his disciples, showing that greatness is found in the serving of others. He was not beyond service. He was not beyond serving. So what is the principle we want to discuss here or bring out to the front? The size of your ministry is determined by the depth of your servanthood. Wow, what a statement. Even if I have to say it myself. The size of your ministry is determined by the depth of your servanthood. So that was point number 2. Point number 3. An emerging leader must already carry vision, must embrace purpose. Remember, we do not work towards these things. We are working from this. This must be the basis. That a person that you want to empower as a leader in your ministry must already have a purpose. They must already have a vision. They must embrace the vision of the household, of the church. So Habakkuk 2 verse 2 says, then the Lord replied, write down the revelation. So write down the vision and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. So whatever you're doing, make it plain, write it down, circulate it, make sure that the whole church, the whole ministry understand the vision of that church. Then they can take that and run with it as you develop them. So vision gives us direction, gives us purpose. That's why I've said, before you appoint a person into leadership, make sure they have a vision and a purpose. Then you know they have a direction, they are motivated, they are energized. So without a clear vision, people lose focus. They lose momentum. So leaders must be able to see beyond the current situation, to see beyond the current circumstances. They must be able to inspire others. They must be able to motivate others. A compelling vision provides momentum. It creates unity and it helps visibility. Others will then be able to see where you are going, where your emerging leader is going, and they will follow. People are created to follow. This is our nature. Yes, some of us are stronger leaders than others, but even a strong leader needs influence. And the moment you have a vision, a purpose, you're motivated, you're encouraged, there's a passion within you, people will naturally follow you because they understand where you're going. People struggle to follow because they do not know what's happening. They don't want to follow if there's no vision, if there's no purpose. So effective leaders communicate effectively. So you have to work on their communication skills. I have a whole teaching on my YouTube channel just on communication. So vision answers 3 very important questions. Where are we going? Why are we going there? And how will we get there? Once people understand this, they will follow. So what is the principle I want to highlight here? People follow people who know where they are going. So don't hope people will follow. The fact that you're the pastor will not mean people will follow you automatically. The fact that you are a departmental head or a supervisor does not ensure you that people will follow and be will submit unto you. But if you create the picture, design the vision in such a way that people see it, they shall follow you. Number 4, faithfulness in the small things in life. And we can read it in the Bible in Luke 16 verse 10. Great leadership begins with faithfulness in ordinary responsibilities. Be found faithful in unto somebody else's vision, and others will be faithful unto your vision. And that's the test of leadership. Be faithful in the small things. If you cannot be faithful in the small things, how then shall we be faithful in the big things? We think we will, but you won't. If you can't be faithful in your own life, developing your own lifestyle, be faithful in those things, you will not be faithful in the great things. Be consistent. Everybody can be right once or twice, but there's a difference being right now and then and being faithful now and then. But can we be faithful? And especially when it's difficult, under difficult circumstances, and when it's not nice. That's the test of leadership and of faithfulness. Leaders who honor commitments and is faithfully working as a steward, he will be entrusted with more. So seek these people, look for them. Try to find them if they are faithful in their household, if they are faithful at their workplace, if they are faithful in the community, if they are faithful towards their children. Those are the people that you must identify. Those are the people that you must train. They must be faithful in their time management, in their commitments. Their yes must be their yes. Their no must be their no. They must be faithful in their finances and assignments given unto them. They must be faithful in their relationships. You hear what I'm saying this morning? These are the things that you must look for in the emerging leaders before you appoint them as leaders. So what is the leadership principle that I want to mention here? God often tests leaders with small responsibilities before entrusting the greater opportunities unto them. Number 5, teachability and a learning spirit. A leader must be an eternal student. We must constantly learn every day new things. This is what I do during the day as well. I set aside a time slot for where I am learning, for where I do research, read books, listen to videos, get empowered with new information. Otherwise, you stagnate as a leader. And the moment you stagnate as a leader, your followers catch up to you and you've lost your ability to lead. Make sure that you are constantly leading. Emerging leaders must cultivate a lifelong commitment to learning, and they shall see it from you. If you remain the same today on your leadership skills today, and in a year's time you're still the same, you are no longer a leader. You are a follower with a title. Why don't we learn? Pride. We think we have arrived. Nobody can teach me anything anymore. Yes, your skills might open the door for you, but your development and your character, in your servanthood, and all these areas will keep you inside. So don't think that I'm now here, I will remain ahead. People are growing. We are living in a digital world where information is readily available on the internet. Our followers, our emerging leaders have access to material to empower them. And if you don't grow, you lose your influence. Here are some biblical examples. Moses, he learned from Jethro. We all know the Jethro principle. Don't try to do everything yourself. Apollos received instruction from Priscilla and Aquila. Where do you sit down? To whom do you listen? Who teaches you? And if you can sit down and be taught, others will sit down for you to teach them. We must develop this learning spirit. Read constantly. I know I was a very bad reader when I was much younger in my life, until I discovered the need for information. Welcome correction. As a leader that is growing, that's commitment, that's an eternal student, must be able to sit down and to be corrected. We have not arrived yet. We make mistakes frequently. We must learn from our mentors. Yes, even us must have mentors. Even us need people in our life that shall elevate us and shall challenge us in our comfort zones. Ask questions. By asking questions, you are gaining information. And information becomes knowledge. And applied knowledge becomes wisdom. Make a commitment to never stop growing. Let us keep on doing these things every day. It's a daily activity in your life. The same as prayer, Bible study, same as eating. Learning must become a habit in your life. And that shall prevent pride to kick in into our lives. It shall accelerate our humility, and that will develop into a growth process. Humbleness, servanthood, learning, acknowledging that you don't know everything will stop pride to develop in our lives. Number 6. I've said I have a whole teaching on this, but I'm just going to throw this in here as a point that you need to look at, and that is communication. Leadership, a requirement for leadership is communication. Why is it so important? Because if you do not share your vision, if you cannot communicate where you are going, you are creating a void in your team, and that causes confusion. And so we as leaders must be able to communicate. When you look at an emerging leader, listen to their communication skills. It might not be perfect, but at least they share. I have written a course about 2 years ago on Preaching Made Easy, but it's actually a public speaking course. I've even written a book last year on Preaching Made Easy. I've identified potential people in our training department to become lay pastors or lay preachers. And I take them through this program. It's about 10 hours. That I take them through this program, show them the pitfalls, show them what they must avoid, teach them what to do, and help them to speak clearly, sufficiently, so they can become better communicators. Because if you're a good communicator, you'll have confidence. You know you are able to share what's in your heart and is in your mind, and you can speak it boldly with confidence. And that confidence makes people to believe in you. And they will attentively listen to you. So effective communication skills build trust. It resolves misunderstandings. It strengthens relationships. It helps you with your guidance process. So effective leaders practice clear communication. Active listening. Listening is part of communication. Otherwise, it's a monologue. Communication is reciprocal. I speak, you speak. I listen, you listen. And there's a dialogue that takes place. That is what is making communication so beautiful. Learn new words. Expand your vocabulary. Don't get stuck on the old things. Expand it, because the more words you know, the better you are able to communicate, and it improves your level of efficiency in your communication. Now you will be able to speak at any level, because the words you know can address every person. You do not know who sits in the audience while you are speaking. So you have to address the babies, the teenagers, and the mature ones. I'm talking about spiritually. Be wise in what you say, when you say it, and very important, how you say it. So What is it, this leadership principle? People are inspired not only by your information, but by your communication. I've watched a video of Louis Giglio that says, you do not get difficult topics to speak on. You only get speakers that are not qualified. And I'm talking about skills and passion to share that information. You might have the knowledge, but you lack the skills. So work on your skills. It is a soft skill that you must develop. Yes, I've said I've got a 10-hour program that I take the speakers through. And today we have numerous people that are able to preach because they have confidence, they have been trained, and they know what to do and how to do it. Number 7, accountability. And I think this will be the last one for this morning. I shall continue the next time with the balance, but let us finish this one point. Accountability and submission. Oh, this is a difficult one. You can read that in Hebrews 13:17. The whole chapter of Hebrew talks about leadership, how you submit unto leadership, not just spiritually, even in the natural, your government, your local government. And now you will tell me, yeah, but it's difficult. It's not about how difficult it is. It's how right it is. No leader succeeds in isolation. Accountability provides protection. It provides guidance and stability in your leadership. Leaders who willingly submit to spiritual authority and maintain healthy relationship with their mentors, their peers, are less likely to fall into pride or error. Unto whom do you submit? If you cannot submit, how can you expect others to submit unto you? Accountability fosters integrity. It ensures that your leaders, your emergency leaders, remain faithful. So, and this is a very important aspect in identifying your emerging leaders. If they cannot submit without a title or a position, how will they submit when they have a title, when they have a position? Because then they will feel, I've arrived. Good examples. David, he submitted unto a Saul, but he had a Nathan with him. Paul, a man of authority, submitted to Barnabas. Timothy had a Paul. What makes us special not to have a mentor in your life? Because the mentor protects us from pride. It keeps us humble. It helps us to grow through correction. Listen to them. Listen to your mentor. It provides covering. And in the church especially, spiritual covering. Increased wisdom. Now I'm learning from my mentor. He has been there before. Why do we want to reinvent the wheel every time? Listen to your mentor. Ask him guidance if you're facing a tough time in your church, in your department. Pardon. So what am I teaching you in this little section? Submission is not weakness, it's protection. As I've said, I shall continue next time on this topic on how to identify emerging leaders in your ministry, in your church, in your department, in your business. If I quote the scripture, it doesn't mean it's just applicable to the church. The Bible is the most up-to-date, most powerful leadership manual. I'm now busy writing a book on the leadership skills according to the book of Psalms. I'm nearly halfway there. And it's interesting how many leadership principles we are getting from the Bible. Thank you for tuning in this morning, and I hope you enjoyed this. Send me a thumbs up. I see a few hearts are coming up. If you enjoy this teachings, go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, follow, share. You're more than welcome to share my videos. And if you want me to come and visit your organization or your church to help you in identifying, training, equipping, or empowering your current leadership, please contact me. I've traveled to 25 nations in the past 10 years doing leadership training, not just in the church, in the corporate world, in government. I've been utilized so many times. I'm willing to help you. Contact me, and thank you very much. God bless you.